Meet Kyra Poh, one of the youngest athletes to compete in the world of indoor skydiving. At 23 years old, Kyra, a Red Bull athlete, is a multiple-time world champion, holds 3 Guinness World Records, and is the first athlete to receive the Sport Excellence Scholarship. From soaring in tunnels to leaping from planes thousands of feet above the ground, her fearless spirit and trail-blazing passion inspire a whole new generation.
I can never describe the feeling of skydiving to someone that has never done it. I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I don't know, I feel like connected with like an element, you know, like we're always on the ground. Like I don't think a human has ever experienced, you know, like flight. And, you know, to feel your whole body like being lifted by wind is definitely an incredible experience. And, you know, like terminal velocity when you fly, you can actually feel your body like from falling into floating. And I think like that feeling is something that's indescribable. Yeah.
Right. Who is Kyra on her own? How would you describe yourself to someone who doesn't know you?
I think I'm a very spontaneous person. I'm always down to do anything. I mean, I jumped out of planes, so, you know, like whatever else you want me to do, I'll do it. Like I'm here for like the lore, the plot, the story.
Right.
I don't really believe in horoscopes, but like I'm a Gemini, people have told me, and I have like 2 completely different personalities. So like during competition, I'm always super serious. Like I don't speak to anyone. I'm in my own bubble and I just have like one goal. But outside of the tunnel, I'm always like laughing with my sister. We're like making fun of all of our teammates, and I guess like we're just here to have fun. So
how would you, sort of define that athlete's mindset in your own way?
I mean, I don't think I fully immaculate it well enough, but I think for athletes, we are kind of like warriors, you know, like if we get shot down or we have any kind of like backlash or kind of setbacks, it's always just moving forward. And I think because, you know, I can't see myself without my sport. And so it's kind of my entire life. So I don't feel like myself without it. So I think even when I was injured, I was always, you know, stretching to make sure that I could come back stronger, or I was still at the different competitions supporting my team. So I never really felt like I was gone and took like a long break from the sport, but yeah,
it sounds amazing. Now, you're what we would call a Gen Z athlete. And I'm sure you have other athletes who might be a bit older, in that realm. One question that I wanted to always ask is, is there a difference, like you feel, being a younger athlete, in terms of your mindset and your resilience? Or of course, you learn from the other athletes as well. So how does that, influence you?
I mean, my mom has made me do sports since I was really young. So I tried everything. I tried gymnastics. I was a national swimmer at one point. And I think that growing up with sports is definitely really important, because it taught me like how to mature really fast. You know, at competitions when we work like over 6 months, like every single day after school, and then going there and maybe like not doing as well. I remember being, I think, 14 years old and like crying. I mean, I think it's natural for every kid to, work so hard and then feel like they're having a setback. But I know like my mom was super strict, and she told me like, one more swipe of tears. She doesn't want to see any more tears. Like if I want to represent the country, like you have to be a good sports person and you have to, represent your country well. So she doesn't want to see any tears. So I think definitely from a young age, I was always taught to, like be a good sports person. Like I have to represent my country well. So we really had to like grow up really fast.
Right.
So.
And what is one thing about skydiving when you really started competing that you did not actually expect?
I guess when I started, I didn't understand or I didn't expect like the amount of stress that I would get, not just from everyone, but I think like the pressure that I give myself. I mean, definitely like the habit that I have of like always wanting to win is like a double-edged sword, because once again, like it pushes me and it really drives me like crazy. But then again, like I always have this pressure of like, having to win and wanting to win as well. And so like, I think that was something that I was not expecting.
Right.
And even after like 10 years of competing, I'm still trying to juggle it and like figure out, like when I lose or get a setback, like how I really feel, and kind of mentally, break it down in my head so I can learn from myself, like what kind of person I am.
And how has that changed, from the time you started competing at 10, 11, 12? I mean, you were a lot younger then, and your mom was there to sort of, walk you through it and support you. And she still does it now. But at 23, a lot of that mental strength has to come from you as well. So how has that evolved for you? Like how have you changed in that sense?
I think when I first started out, because the sport is mostly dominated in European and the US countries, we were kind of like the underdogs and no one really expected anything from us. So we were just there to kind of like prove a point and like have fun and do our best. I think after we started winning from like 2018 onwards, I guess it was kind of like a shock because, when you're at the top, everyone's gunning for you. And when you're at the bottom, you're like slowly climbing up. Like, so I think that was definitely a shift between, me knowing that, people are coming from me and like people people expect a lot from like what we're going to produce. So I think it's definitely shifted from like when I was young, I took it as like, I think more lightly. And I think now as I've gone through so many years, the pressure is definitely on. And it's more of like, okay, how do I reinvent myself and how do I, figure out what I want to achieve other than just, winning the medal. So like, yeah, my whole family has always told me like, we don't really care about my medals. And it's true. Like I have all of my first place medals somewhere in a cave in Paris, actually. So we have this little like cave in the catacombs that is like, we have to climb down the sewers. And we have this athlete cave where all of the skydivers would kind of like go to just leave your medals in like the random cave in Paris.
Okay.
So I just left like a bunch of my first medals.
What is the reason behind it? Like what?
It was kind of like to create like just a secret sanctuary. I mean, skydivers were more like spirited and we always like adventurous things. So I think one of the pioneers kind of made this whole cave and they called it like the catastrophe, like in the catacombs.
Right.
And like whoever is a skydiver that knows about this place will go down and it would just like leave a medal or a few medals there to kind of create like a whole trophy room full of like skydiving
medals. Oh, that's so cool. So now, Kyra, do you remember your first flight that you ever had? What was like your emotions running through it?
I think I was just completely happy because actually I used to wear glasses before for many years. And when we first started flying, you couldn't wear your glasses inside. And so like I was actually like almost completely blind. Like I couldn't see what was going on. I really could just feel, the wind blowing on my body and like my body just floating. But I just remember wanting to do it again and again and again. I think I was just really happy. I was like laughing the whole time. And I knew that, I was always like
meant
begging.
To do this.
Yeah. No, I don't know if I was meant to do it.
Yeah.
Actually, my mom, she did a fortune telling once, like years ago, like just when I was born. And the fortune teller actually told my mom that I'm gonna be like world famous at like a wind instrument, like facility thing.
Oh my.
And so, I mean, we never knew that indoor skydiving existed. So my mom bought me like a flute and all of like the wind instruments because she thought it was like, like the musical instruments. And I completely suck. Like I'm the worst person at any like musical instrument. I cannot play like anything. And so my mom just thought like, this fortune teller is like nonsense,
we need to find out who this fortune teller is.
But like after 20 years, she's like, okay, maybe the wind instrument is like the indoor skydiving tunnel because then it would be quite accurate. So
now, you took things to a whole different level because from the tunnel, you went to the open sky. And you have done over 400 jumps, right? What was that transition like? Because I would imagine like from a tunnel, there's still like a controlled environment, I would say. And then to the open skies, like what was the transition like? What made you want to do that?
I mean, for me, I always wanted to try to do it. So I think on my 12th birthday, I did my first tandem in Australia. Yeah. And I remember I was like begging my mom, like, please let me do it. And like, as a 12-year-old, I had to convince my whole family and tell them that it would be safe. So yeah, that was interesting. And I did my license when I was 16 and I was just full of excitement. Like exactly what you say, like I'm always like in this tube and now I'm like let out in the sky. Like I felt like I could do anything that I wanted and it was really exciting. But definitely I know that it's riskier and there's also another element where it's like, you have to pilot the canopy and that is something that I'm not very familiar of. So actually when I tried to get my license when I was 16, I actually fractured my ribs during one of the landings because I landed on a fence like really hard and I had to be taken to the hospital and I didn't manage to get my license. But I think it was kind of like a wake-up call to tell me that, even though I'm so familiar with this, like I feel completely like natural in the wind, that there's also another element of like canopy piloting and the other side of skydiving that can be dangerous. I could never be complacent and I always have to, focus on being safe. So yeah, I promised my parents that like if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it like as safe as possible because I would never want them to regret supporting me ever in something that could be, I guess, seen as a more dangerous sport. So
what is a core skill that you feel that, as a young flyer that you have learned?
I think adaptation is a good one because there's so many similarities between the tunnel and the sky. And I think that a lot of people at this level, they might be, I guess, a bit complacent and think like, if I can do it in the tunnels, like what is the sky? It could be easy. But my mom has always taught me like since I was young, like don't play with nature, like you gotta respect it and you have to respect like your sport. Yeah, like to adapt, but in a cautious way.
Right. Have you ever had a skydiving malfunction like up in the air?
No, I have never had a skydiving malfunction actually. I have landed in like a golf course by accident because I couldn't make it back to the landing zone. I have landed in a tree and got stuck in a tree. I've landed in a fence and I landed in, places that I'm not supposed to be.
Right. So when you landed at the golf course, were there people golfing?
Yeah.
Were they taken aback by you coming coming down.
Like I was in Thailand and I opened my canopy and I realized that the wind was too strong and I couldn't make it back to the landing zone. So usually we just have to watch out for a new safer landing zone, and I know the golf course is safe. So I think like there was people like, you know, playing golf and I was shouting like, oh, I'm coming, like be careful please, like stay away. And I was like, I think like 2 meters away from a golf cart. So thank God it was okay. But
yeah, good to hear that, you know, it went safely. Now, in all your years of competing, you know, what's the biggest fear that you always sort of like carry with you?
I mean, I have messed up in the tunnel really badly before. I think 2018, when I was 16, I was fighting for the top 3 places. And on my last round, on the 8th round, I completely blanked out in the tunnel. Like I forgot everything that I was supposed to do, and my mind just became blank. And I remember like running out of the tunnel and like breaking down because I thought like, I was telling my mom like, my life is over, you know, my winning streak is gone. And my mom was telling me like, you survived, like it's fine, like don't worry about it. And when that happened, I still had 2 more categories that I was fighting for first place. So I ended up screwing up that category for sure. But my mom told me like, okay, you cannot change what you've just done, and there's no way you can like rewind the past, but you cannot let it affect like what you're gonna do. Like, would you rather like lose this and then let it affect you and lose every other category you're gonna take part in, or you can like change your mindset now, get back into focus, and then go win the other 2 categories? So that's what I did. Like I completely just threw it out of the window, and then I won the other 2 categories. But I think that's something that, you know, has really helped me till now. So like even if I always have the fear, or if I screw up within my first round, like to never give up. And like I cannot change the past, but I can definitely like switch it up and do even better so that I can, you know, make it back.
Right. And it must be hard, right, for athletes, because like for you train for months and months for that like 60 seconds or for that 1 minute that you're up in the air. So in that moment, you know, what keeps you, you know, going?
I mean, I think it's just because I really love it. Like, I really love the family that I've built within this community. I love flying. And like, for example, in this recent competition, I got 4 goals, but I actually lost the category that I was really focusing on. So like, it was my comeback from freestyle, and I had messed up on my 3rd round, and in the end I got 2nd place. I haven't lost a single category for that competition since 2019. So for me, it was like definitely a big deal. Like I always was scared about what it is if I didn't win and if I didn't get 1st place. But on my last round, when I had flown, I really enjoyed it. Like I was smiling the whole way, and I thought like, you know, I'm doing it because I really love it. And like, of course, I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't manage to win 1st place. However, like I think I'm also happy because I realized that, you know, it's all in my mind, and I really put in the effort, and I didn't slack off. And you know, sometimes like people do better than me. So if you can learn from it, like, you know, I'll just get 1st next time.
Right. Now, Kyra, when you're free falling, you know, like thousands of feet down, I've always been curious, what is running through your head? Like, you know, are you more focused on like, okay, am I going to reach the ground? Or are you just soaking everything in?
It depends on what kind of jumps we have. So for a skydive, if I'm doing a training jump, I'm really going through like every single thing that I have to do, because imagine we have like over 10 moves that we want to accomplish within 45 seconds, and it's kind of like everyone has to be perfect. If not, you know, you're gonna have to like not finish it and then like pull your parachute. So when I'm doing training, it's really about like, you know, visualizing every single move and reminding myself like, okay, legs together, chin up, like what do I have to do? And then we have fun jumps where it's more like, you know, if we have a sunset, we get to like skydive like with the sunset, and then you just get to see like, you know, the sun rays and the orange like hues coming in, and it's like you and all your friends, and you're just like skydiving together. It's really like super magical, and I'm just always thinking like, oh my God, I love what I do. Like this is amazing.
Because you get to see the world from a different...
Exactly. And you get to do it with friends, and it's such a different experience. Like there's just some special connection that you have with the people that you skydive with, because you get to like experience a moment that, you know, can never be replicated. Like I like to think like skydiving is like an NFT, you know, like no one can take it away
like from you.
Yeah, it's like unique, it's there.
It's
exactly.
a unique experience for you.
Yeah.
Now, you started this sport at a very young age, but before the Guinness World Record and you know the world titles that you have won, you know, what kind of a kid were you?
I think as a child, I love adrenaline. So it was always like, I loved the roller coasters. I think none of it scared me. I always wanted to go bungee jumping, and I really liked the feeling of like kind of the exhilaration. And I think also I was someone that couldn't sit still. So I was trying, like I told you, like a lot of different kinds of sports. Like I was doing, I think, golf at some point. I tried ballet. I tried everything. And my parents really gave me the exposure for that. And when I found indoor skydiving, it was kind of a click for me because my parents could use it as a bait, you know, like if I don't do my homework, I can't fly. If I don't like help out with household chores, I can't go for training. And that was like kind of how much they saw that I love this sport. And that's why they've supported me through. Because I think I was definitely one of the youngest, and like the sport was super uncommon when I first started in Singapore as well as in the world compared to what it is today. So I think it was really, you know, just my parents seeing that I had a passion for something where they could support me, even though they didn't know so much about the sport at that time.
Right. And what did you like about it? You said you tried ballet, you know, you tried so many different sports, but nothing clicked. So what about skydiving, you know, or indoor skydiving in this case, that clicked with you? What did you love about it?
I love the feeling of learning new things and like being creative with it, because I used to be a swimmer, and no shame to swimmers, but you know, swimming the same 4 strokes like every single day, like for 2 hours was not my thing personally. And because my dad, he's a designer and he's very like artistic and creative, I was taught from like a young age to, you know, use my creativity. And I think for the tunnel is something that I can really, you know, express myself, because we're always creating new tricks, because it's not just practicing something over and over again. Like we have to reinvent. And for this category that I take part in, if you don't create like a new trick per competition, like you're not going to score so well. So it's really like, you know, you're making something new that nobody has ever seen before. And I think that that's what really excites me.
Right. Now, when did this go from like, okay, it's nice, it's fun, I love the feeling of it, to, okay, I really want to do this. Like, I really want to train and be an athlete in this particular sport.
Yeah.
You know, when did that, you know, sort of aha moment happen?
Okay, I think the aha moment happened when I realized that I could compete in this sport. So before this, I never knew how the competition works, how people can be scored. And as a child, I'm a very competitive person, like super competitive. Like I would want to beat anyone in anything, like even till now, like when I'm in school or doing anything, like it's a bad trait, but I just want to beat everyone.
Oh, why is it a bad trait? It's a great trait.
Yeah, so I think when I found out that I could compete, immediately I was like, I want to do this and I want to win and I want to try to be the best in the sport. So yeah.
And you mentioned your dad and your mom as well, right? You know, how important was that family environment for you? Because a lot of times, you know, who we become also starts from a very young age.
Yeah.
So, you know, what can you tell me about, you know, the environment that shaped you, basically?
I think my family is one of like the main reasons why I'm able to do this so far. I think as an athlete, the biggest support that you can have that, you know, kind of differentiates like if you succeed or you don't do so well is the people behind you. Like, I mean, when we stand on the stage and we collect our medals, like people don't see the whole village of people that have been supporting us. And yeah, I mean, I have to say like I definitely strike like the lottery in terms of like gaining, I guess, the most supportive family. They've been like my biggest fans, I think, and my biggest support systems. Like all of my family members play like a really key role. My mom is my manager, my coach, and she travels with me for any competition. It's definitely hard at times because, you know, like she is really harsh and strict on me, but it's really helpful because I have like the one person that I trust most as the person managing me for my sport. And like my father, like he would make sure that I always get proper nutrition. Like as an athlete, we always have to eat like super healthy, and he's always cooking for me like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and sending me for training so that I can like, you know, rest in the car rather than like traveling like a whole way around. So yeah, I'm really lucky.
Right. Your sister is in the sport as well.
Yeah.
Right? Did you inspire her? Did she, your little sister, right? She's younger than you.
Yes. She's 7 years younger than me. So now I'm 23 and she's 15. And I mean, she would say that I didn't inspire her just because, you know, I wouldn't think she wants to give me the credit. But I think now I'm so happy she's in my sport. Like there's no one that I love more than my sister. And like since young, my parents have always told me that like, you know, your sibling is the most important. So actually we have a 7-year age gap, but we have never fought before. Like we have never fought over anything. Like I'm lucky to have a good family, but I think I'm even luckier to have like the best sister ever. She's like super supportive. She's completely opposite of me. So like, for example, she loves doing the sport, but she hates interviews. She hates like anything to do with media. So like, even when I get invited for media stuff, she's always like, you do it. Like, I just want to chill. I just want to have fun. So we really have like a good balance. And when I'm with her in a team, so we did the 4-way in April where we won the World Championships. And it was the most fun because we were just always together and laughing and making fun of everyone. And in this competition in Australia, she actually couldn't come because she's studying for her O-levels. And I was really sad. I missed her like a lot. So I'm really happy to have my sister in the sport because I mean, it makes training so much easier. And like, she understands me. I understand her. We don't have to speak about anything. And I mean, our mom's our manager. So like, I always have my sister with me, you know, if we want to like get a battle or something.
Right. And throughout about this relationship, that you have, so not everyone has a sibling who's in the same sport as you, even though she's a lot younger than you. What have you learned from her? Like, you were once 15 as well doing the sport. Like, now looking at her, like, what have you learned from her at this stage?
Definitely composure. She's like the most chillest person ever. Like when she goes in for a competition, yes, she's nervous, but I feel like she is in total control of herself. And I'm always thinking like, okay, if my 15-year-old sister can do this, like I for sure as a 23-year-old can do this as well. So she definitely inspires me. And like when we have done smaller competitions where we're just in a team of the two of us, and like seeing how fast and like how hard she pushes herself. And like, we had one competition where I think before the finals, she had exited the wrong way, and I think she sprained her ankle, and she was limping a little bit, but I told her like, it's okay. We don't have to do the finals. Like we can just drop out, like your ankle's like more important. And she really like sucked it together, and we went in and we won the competition. And I think like seeing her like, in pain, but still like, pushing herself to like compete, like it was really like, yeah, if someone's 7 years younger than we can do this and we're from the same family, like I should not be complaining. So
now you balance childhood, you had to do training, go to school and all of that, right? And it's not really a normal childhood for most people, at least here in Singapore.
Yeah.
How did you juggle that? As a kid, you didn't have the maturity that you have today. So how did you juggle that? And how did you keep saying to your mom that, okay, I want to continue doing this?
Yeah.
It's hard, but I still want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it was really hard. I didn't really have much time to hang out with all of my friends because I was in the School of the Arts. We used to go to school at like 7:30 until 6:30 in the evening. And then I would train from 7 to 10 p.m. and then go back. And I was also still studying for IB. So I would then be, working at night till like 2 or 3 in the morning. So it was tough, having to be like invited by friends to, go for parties or go to the cinema and hang out, and then having to decline for training. Definitely there's ups and downs, and there's certain years or certain periods of seasons of competition where it's definitely very exhausting, and like having to excel in school and then come back and do my sport was tough. How did I do it? I really don't know. I just think it's because I really like to fly, and I grew and I made this like family in my flying community that I really love hanging out with them as well. And so I feel like I have a family like within my sport community as well. I would say when I was young, it was kind of a bit easier, but now that I'm growing up, I still have, university and other things that I'm like trying to do as well. So it's kind of just, remembering why I'm doing it, and that is because I really like to fly. So
right.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I ask is because, many of us, we may pursue something, and then halfway through we're like, oh my God, I can't do this, right?
Yeah.
Things come along, and especially when you're a teenager, it's so hard to say no to your friends.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't imagine how you would have done that, and that grit and resilience is something that I always admire in athletes, right? How do you think that, like a layperson like myself can maybe start to build that mindset?
I think everyone has it in them. I don't even think that there's such thing as like a layman person. I think everyone has a passion inside, and it's whether you find it and you're willing to put in the effort. Like for me, it's definitely not the easiest all the time, and there's a lot of things that I have to sacrifice. But when I look at my life and I think of what happens if I just quit, or like I don't have flying in my life, I don't really see like myself, I don't think I can kind of describe myself without my sport. And I think if like when people find this like purpose that they have or something that they really love, then it would be like enough for them to, put in the effort. Like it could be something small. Like for example, my mom just started like everyone else Pilates, and she's been going like every single, I mean, I go as well. But for her, I can just see her motivation on going like every single day. And even when she's tired or she's coming with me for training, she still like finds time to, have this time for herself, and it makes her proud. So I think that if you can find something that makes yourself happy and makes yourself proud of yourself, then it's enough. Yeah.
Right. That sense of accomplishment, right? At the end of the day. Now, Kyra, if you were to sort of rewind back, since the time you started the sport, right? What would you say, that you feel that you have gained the most, aside to the medals, aside to, your wins, your records, your titles? What would you say as a person that you have gained the most out of being in this career?
Yeah, I definitely learned that like if you want to do something and you have a goal, that it's not easy, and that you cannot just have the cake and eat it. Like that's what my mom always tells me. Like she's like, you want to win, like you can't just have the cake and eat it. You have to actually put in effort. You're going to go through like periods where you're crying, where you're upset, you don't want to do this. But like if you want to reach a goal, like you're going to have to put in the amount that you need in order to get it. And I think that, life is not easy. And whenever like people say like, oh, I want to be like just like you, or like I was so also want to fly. Like they don't see the behind the scenes of like how tough it can be. But I think it's always to be grateful, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I've learned it
Gratitude.
because it's really easy to think like, this is too tough. Like, why can people go out and party, but I cannot, and I have to stay and I have to train. But really, like, it's about shifting your mindset and thinking like, you know, I found something in life that I really love to do, and some people are still figuring that out. So, you know, you have to work for it if you want to continue doing your passion. So I think, yeah, my mom has always taught me to be like really grateful. And I think that that has helped me through like any hard time that I have.
Right. Now, what is now important to Kyra at 23 that maybe, you know, at 12, you know, it wasn't quite important as an athlete? Like what has, you know,
I think now is definitely to like help the younger generation. So like for this competition in Australia, it was the first time that I actually had students that was competing. So usually I'm there like competing for myself and representing my country. But for this competition in particular, I took on 3 students for the competition. So they were from China and from Thailand. And I think, you know, like coaching them, seeing how they are stressed and kind of like, you know, helping them and being their mentors for this competition was definitely a new experience, and I really liked it. And I felt so proud and so happy like watching them fly. And I feel like I kind of understand how it is like for the people that are helping me, like how they feel. Because whenever my mom is trying to help me, you know, sometimes I say things that I don't mean. Like for example, like how can she be tired? She's not even the one training, and I'm inside the tunnel like, you know, trying to do this like perfect trick like 100 times. And now that I'm actually taking on the other role of like the mentoring and like the coach, I see how exhausting it can be, you know, like really like being worried for the other flyer, trying to coach them, trying to prep them mentally. So I think it really makes me gain a lot of different perspective. And that's something I'm really keen on in the future.
Before we go, what advice would you have to any young person or anyone looking to pursue their purpose or passion in life?
I think don't give up. It's gonna be really tough, and there'll be a lot of times that you feel like quitting. Like I read a quote the other day, and it says like, if you feel like giving up, just take a rest, but never quit, because that's when, you know, true failure happens, when you just like stop what you're doing. But if you just rest and keep going and, you know, never look back, then that's when, you know, you can achieve something that you're proud of.